I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Yujian Tang. I work on a community called OSS for AI. Our main mission is to make all of the knowledge and resources around AI tooling accessible, primarily to developers and to product people. And this is the first panel I'll be hosting today. And I guess it's kind of weird to start in the middle. Let's start at one of the ends, and we'll have Davide introduce himself and then pass the mic this way.
Thanks, Yujian. I'm Davide. I lead the AI team at the Ethereum Foundation. So essentially what we're focused on is using Ethereum as a kind of coordination infrastructure for agents. So we are working on payments, we are working on decentralized identity, and we are working on like reputation, verification, so like kind of like cryptographic proof or like various like data or like inference traces in AI. I can talk more about this, but yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, hi there. I am Mitesh Patel. I lead the developer advocate team at NVIDIA. And the mission of our team is to showcase how we can create different workflows, reference application that runs on NVIDIA GPUs. And we use tools, frameworks that is available in the open community. Happy to be here. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Tang. I'm a professor in computer science at UC Berkeley and also co-director of a campus-wide center called Berkeley Center for Responsible Decentralized Intelligence. I work in AI safety, AI security, and agentic AI in general, and have been teaching a MOOC, massive open online course on agentic AI with over 32,000 enrolled.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brad Axen. I'm a principal engineer at Block, where I work on all things AI, including some of the products that we build, and I'm also the original author of our open source AI agent called Goose.
Oh, wow. OK, that'll be fun. All right. Has anyone here used Goose? Oh, you have someone in the audience. You have a fan.
Thank you.
How many people here have built an AI agent themselves? Oh, quite a few people. OK, great. So then I think you guys will all have a lot of good context for this conversation that's coming up. I think the first thing that we want to touch on is how do you guys see, and we'll just take the mic and go down this way. How do you guys see AI agents evolving over the next few years, particularly in the ways that we will interact with them? And maybe start with kind of where you see they are now and how you think that they'll evolve maybe in the next 3 to 5 years.
That's a big question. So maybe the thing I'll lead with is that I think AI agent capabilities are already far beyond what we're using them for. And in the sense that what the models are capable of, I think that can be pushed a lot further by the frameworks we put around them. So the agent itself, multi-agent systems, the interface that like lets the human see what's happening and intervene at the right times, like all of that, I think even if we froze all the models where we are today, we could work on that for a couple decades and get a lot of returns on it. But that said, I'm still very excited for models, and I'll call out especially open source models, which I think are very demonstrably catching up to proprietary models like every day. And so I think as much as I think agents have a long way to go, the actual models themselves, I'm really looking forward to how the open source models catch up and start to become a bigger part of how we use AI.
Yes, I very much agree with what Brad just said. And I can also give some concrete examples in the area of cybersecurity, actually, to show some of these points. So I also give a talk. I gave the opening keynotes this morning, where I touched on some of this in my opening keynote. So one important question as we develop the agentic AI is to also ensure that we really understand the potential risks and how this may impact the general internet and the general world. So some of our recent work in particular looked at the impact of frontier AI on the landscape of cybersecurity, given that AI is a dual-use technology, it can help both the attacker side and the defender side. And who is AI going to help more, and how is this going to actually impact the overall landscape of cybersecurity. So in our recent work, so we actually have done several different works in this space. So in our recent work on Bounty Bench, actually, so this one will actually show that agents today can already autonomously solve real-world bounty tasks. So these are essentially bug bounties that web developers put up to incentivize white hat hackers to find vulnerabilities, fix vulnerabilities for monetary rewards. So our work in Bounty Bench showed that the agents today can already autonomously solve some of these real-world bounty tasks and can gain actually monetary rewards equivalent of like tens of thousands of dollars. So that's one measurement, that's one example. Another example in our recent work on CyberGym, it's a benchmark with close to 200 widely distributed, large-scale, real-world open-source software. And our work showed that the agents, again, today, can already, can find a significant percentage of previously known vulnerabilities in this large-scale, widely distributed open-source software. And moreover, more importantly, it actually can find 0 days in the software. So the software has been, because they are security critical, they have been fast tested over a long period of time. But still, our work showed that actually, with the fairly low cost, these agents can actually find 0 days. These are previously unknown vulnerabilities, and also can generate what we call as POCs, proof of concepts. So these are actually inputs to trigger the, these vulnerabilities. So the agents actually are fairly smart. They can write code to generate inputs that actually then trigger the vulnerabilities in this large-scale real-world software. So these are just examples. Like again, if you say last year, this is essentially almost impossible to do. But then this year, first we see the fast increase of capabilities, both from model and also for agents, now that the agents can do this fairly well. And also our work now was included in Anthropic's most recent model release, the Sonnet 4.5 system card. Anthropic uses CyberGym to do the evaluation of AI capability in cybersecurity. So this just to summarize, to quickly mention, also as Brad mentioned, so now we are really seeing that these agents have very strong capabilities, and they are increasing really, really fast. So I think I'll pass on the mic to others. You also asked about the future work. I think we can discuss that in the next round.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a... So how I'll see where agents are going. So a year ago, agents we were just starting off with agents. What happened along the way, what we are seeing today is we are seeing agent-agent collaboration. So that is increasing, giving us the opportunity to create new applications where they are becoming better companions to assist us as humans. Moving forward, where do we see agents going in? So there are multiple paths, which was brushed through by Don as well. One of them, why they are contributing so well in building these agents, is the open ecosystem of models. All these companies, including NVIDIA, Alibaba, they are contributing so much to the open ecosystem in terms of models. That is one that is contributing so much to this agent space. And all this is going to do is how can we push the bound of these agents in the future? So a few things that are being well studied right now is having hierarchical agents. That is one. And the other one is how do we add long context to agents? So we will see a lot of work in these areas as well in the coming days, coming months, or coming years, of how these agents can become more capable. They are not specific to solve a task, but they are really good companion for a human to help them in their everyday life. So that is where I'm seeing agents will grow more, which is being more hierarchical, which is a hot topic right now, and then having how do we add long context to agents.
Yeah, from my perspective, we are more focused on kind of collaboration infrastructure between agents and also between humans and agents. And I think it's a very exciting time because as these things become more capable, they can run for longer time windows. They can execute tasks for longer time, and they can execute a breadth of many tasks. I think the infrastructure we are building becomes even more useful. Yeah, I can give a couple of examples. So on the agent-to-agent side, what we're really focused on is this open agent economy. So essentially, the strength of Ethereum is that it's a neutral platform, right? So there is a lot of different AI companies. They are putting out their new models. A lot of them, fortunately, are open source, so anyone can take them. So we want to create this kind of neutral platform where people can deploy different agents from different companies, and the core infrastructure there is around payments. For example, we work on this X402 protocol for micropayments for agents, which then was included in this AP2 protocol. So we work with Google and Coinbase on this. And then we have also a new standard that we propose on decentralized identity and reputation for agents. So on Ethereum, there is a set of smart contract registries, and people can actually start accumulating traces of their execution and reputation. And then on the human-to-agent side, that's also very important. So there, where I see that kind of the coordination infrastructure is more around okay, what policies you want your agent to abide by. And there is a few projects that are working on setting budgets for agents, or setting a specific type of functions that they can call, and essentially doing this constrained delegation.
Yeah. So I think we heard a lot about kind of the state of what agents are right now, and the open source stuff and the frameworks that are around them. And you touched a lot about everyone kind of touched on this kind of collaborative topic. And so I think one thing that might be interesting to just dig a little bit deeper into is which kinds of interactions do you guys think are going to be mostly agent to agent versus human to agent? So maybe we can just start and then just come this way.
Yeah, so I think human to agent are mainly the things that you want to keep agency on. I feel that, yeah, there is so many things where
the human is an agent.
Yeah. We are all agents, yeah. And some things we want to it's a question of trust as well, right? Yeah, these agents are more capable on average. Don, you can show it in some papers on especially on security or coding side, but for a lot of tasks in the digital world, yeah, I don't know, would you trust an agent with giving it a $4 million budget and find the house for you? Probably not, right? But giving it $400 budget and picking your next flight, maybe that's okay. And one of the projects I was talking about is called Giza. So essentially what they do is they run agents in some confidential compute nodes. And then what the user can do, you can instantiate your own wealth manager, give it a budget, and then also give it a list of protocols or product that are safe for you. And then the agent optimizes given this input. Yeah, I think this is kind of one example where the human to agent collaboration, I think is going to be a surface. We'll always want to maintain some agency. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take a more fundamental purview on that. So for human agent collaboration, so how I see the differentiation between what agents would do versus what humans would be doing this collaborative system is agents are doing more repetitive or boredom stuff or doing tasks that requires that does not require some level of thought process, but it's able to analyze an Excel file for you. but at the same time, keep the decision with the humans. So the agent is able to perform all the tasks for you in terms of analyze this Excel file, analyze this 10 PDFs, and tell me what is the summary of it. So you can make more informed decision out of it. As far as agent-to-agent collaboration go, there are a lot of applications that you can think about. A simple one, what Dawn mentioned in her talk this morning, or surfaced it, where if an agent is going or taking you in the wrong direction, if there's an agent-to-agent collaboration, the other agent can pick it up and correct it, so that whatever information is coming out of this agentic system for humans to make decision upon, it is going in the right direction, so that you are not bifurcated going into any direction. So I think agent-to-agent collaboration will be helpful in those kinds of use cases or applications.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we are, when I started teaching the agentic AI MOOC, that was last fall. Back then, there wasn't actually much talk about agents. And I started the MOOC because I saw that I believed the agent is the next frontier. But then suddenly this year becomes the year of agents, and the agents just exploded. I actually couldn't predict that the agent would, the space would grow so fast. But even with that, I think we are actually still just at the very beginning of this agentic AI world. And so we have a recent paper called Agentic Web, actually described essentially how actually in the future really agent-to-agents, human-to-agents interactions are going to be, and also like forming this new type of web that called agentic web. So if you think about it today, like how we have users surfing the website, and the web is really just designed for humans. But humans have many limitations, and so the web actually has to be designed catering to humans' limitations. But in the future, as the agents' capabilities grow, then actually the agents, they don't have to do things the humans, the way humans do. And agents, they can continuously run. You can run many agents in parallel, and they can run at a much faster speed. They can absorb and search information much faster than humans, and they can do things much faster than humans. So in our paper, Agentic Web, we do anticipate a completely different type of the world. So yes, so human can still talk to the agents to tell agents some human intent, what the human is interested in, what wants to do. And then, so for example, the shopping experience will be completely different. Humans will have our own agent representing us. And then, for example, the website will have, the merchant will have its own agents. And then the user agents may be communicating with the merchant's agent, doing negotiations, and also try to find the right merchandise for the users and so on. So as you can see in this case, actually there will be many different agents representing different entities, and they can, through agent-to-agent communication, they can negotiate, they can find information, right? A lot of these things can just happen without human involvement, but still, it's important for humans to still talk to its agents or talk to other agents, so humans can share their intent and requests and so on. So yes, so the point is that I feel right now, even though this year I've never seen anything like exploding this fast. When ChatGPT came out, it was fast, but I think for agents, actually, I've never seen anything exploding this fast. And even with that, I think we are still at a very early stage. I think the future of this agentic web will be like much, even orders of magnitude bigger.
I very strongly agree with that take, which is if we're looking far enough forward, I think the internet is a very different place, because I agree with you that all the structures we have around it are based on like how quickly humans can read and view and iterate. And that's not a limitation we'll have going forward. But I would say that in the next year for me, I think the harder problem to solve will be the human to agent interface. And if I were to take a guess, like what'll be the next thing for 2026, it might be like AI interfaces. And what I mean there is, if you have these agents that are able to go through, a couple of order of magnitude more content than you are, how do you even keep up and know what it's doing? Like, what does that look like? And if it can do anything, how does it show you the work? And I think we're currently in a mode where we could get into more trust for agents in the future, but you really do need a human in the process today. For anything interesting, you want the human to be, maybe the agent is the first 80 or 90%, and the human is the last 10%. And so how do you come up with an interface that keeps up with this capability and show the human in a very intuitive and streamlined way that like much larger scope of what's going on? And I think it literally has to be generative in one way or another, not maybe literally writing code. Maybe there's somewhere in between where it has like a canvas to paint with, but along the way it's showing you new things that maybe were didn't exist before you started that conversation. And I think there's some really cool early work on that, by the way, if anyone wants to check out like MCP UI, very fun protocol for dynamically having an agent show you interface along the way. You can try that out in Goose. But there's a lot of cool work in that space, I think, about showing people what they need to see and thinking about what does like the UX look like in the future where things are so much more dynamic.
I think we heard a lot about maybe the way that the evolution, the way that the web will evolve in terms of the future of the agents from you guys, and maybe some thoughts on how agents will interact. And then you kind of ended on a nice place for what I wanted to ask next, which was you mentioned this open source library that you can try on Goose. So I want to ask you guys a question that's going to be a little bit challenging. And I know we're going to cut this a little bit short, so I'll try to ask you guys some short questions. So what is your favorite open source library that you do not work on personally?
Of course, yeah.
It can't be Goose.
Yeah,
you already work on Goose.
We'll rule it out. I mean, I think, does it count? We contribute to the MCP, but only a little bit.
That you do not personally work on.
Yeah, okay. Then I will say that I think that protocols are the space that I find most interesting. So what MCP is doing is the one that I definitely will say has made the biggest change in the way we all think about and build agents. So I do want to shout that out. I think other protocols will have a similar role to play. So we're really excited about what payment protocols look like going forward. We could talk more about that with X402. And AP2 and all the other standards. And so I do think that there's a future where we need additional components. And one of the ones that I'm most excited about is how do we have an agent be able to connect to multiple different interfaces? And so there's some fun ones that are pretty early in that space, but I think that's where that's going to go. So shout out to like a couple of different editing tools like Zed that have been working in that space.
Yes, I can add to that. I think, so of course, like in MCP, A2A, all these have been very, very helpful. And also in our agentic web paper, also we outline, essentially like the new protocols that are needed to support this agentic future. And the one thing I actually want to mention a little bit, this is something I think is really important. So we are contributing to it, but I think it needs more from the community side, which is agent evaluation. As we build agents, we all know actually the most important thing is actually evaluation, because you can only improve what you can measure. And also, in general, these evaluations serve as great goalposts for the whole community. So for example, my group, like my former students, led the work, and so we developed the MMLU, which has been the most popular evaluation benchmark for LLM. MMLU, math, and a number of other benchmarks and so on. But however, so these benchmarks are developed for model evaluation. And for developing agents, we actually need more effective agent evaluation. And today, agent evaluation has a number of issues. It's it's now standardized, it's now reproducible, or in general hard to reproduce and so on. And also the biggest problem is the agent evaluation is actually still done as a model evaluation. Right, with Brad, we were just discussing this earlier. The interface for agent evaluation oftentimes actually cuts at the model parts. Oftentimes the harness, the scaffolding of the agents is somehow intertwined as a monolithic thing with the evaluation benchmark itself. So we have been developing this new approach, a new paradigm for agent evaluation called agent beats, which is, we call it agentified agent evaluation, where we actually clearly do the separation. We separate out the benchmark, the agent scaffolding, and the model. So then you have clean interfaces where you really have this kind of benchmark, the agent evaluation, that you can just bring your own agents, literally, to actually do the evaluation, where the evaluation benchmark itself is actually an agent itself. So what to summarize all this, I think
I'm really
what's
hoping to hear
needed,
about one that you are not personally working on.
no. So the part is, we think just like MCP, A2A, all these protocols have been very helpful. I think it's also helpful to have open protocol for this kind of general agent evaluation. So I guess my comment is. Right. So I think this is something that's helpful for the whole community, and we are contributing to it, but maybe others can work on it as well. And also, as I mentioned earlier this morning, we have a competition called the Agent Beats competition that actually brings the community together to contribute to this.
All right, we're just going to move on from this one.
All right, so the question was which framework?
Which open source libraries do you like that you're not personally working on? This is very okay. Fair.
So actually, the Agent Beats is built on A2A.
So I mean, I'll build a lot of those open source libraries and frameworks. I won't say I have liking for one, but a lot of them are really good. But it depends.
So you don't like any of them?
No, I like all of them. But it depends on the application that you're working on, right? So which library will be helpful in that application? CrewAI is amazing. They have a good agent framework. I think LangChain also has a really good framework. So I'm just speaking about two, but there are so many in the agent world. There are so many frameworks available for fine-tuning purposes. There are so many frameworks available for hosting a model and doing inferencing. And all these things are equally important when you're building an application. And so VLM, SGLang, I have used them as well. I have not contributed there, but I use them. So I'm making a point that there are so many libraries out there, but it depends on the stack and the application that you're working on, what goodies you want to pull from library A versus library B.
Makes sense.
I'll mention two. One is because it's fun. I think it's MassGen. So Che Wang was actually presenting about this morning. I think it's a really cool experiment in like multi-agent coordination. They're discovering like some interesting patterns of like what happens when you put different models and agents together. So I'm excited about watching that. I'm not contributing yet. The other one, because I think it's very important, so it's not like about building agent per se, but it's about security. So it's called DStack. So it's essentially
DStack, yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's a framework to essentially deploy like containerized agents in like trusted execution environment. Like for example, NVIDIA, they have this new like confidential compute. I think this is very important because like, as Don was mentioning about like this agentic web, like we need to think about this not just because of the security, but also because of the economic properties that are gonna come out of this system, right? It's like, okay, if my personal agent is negotiating with like a third-party company, and if the same platform is operating both, right? Like, I'll mention Meta, for example, because they are already trying to do it. I mean, no pointing, but like, okay, if I have like my personal agent, which is owned and operated by company A, and then I have a vendor that pays company A, could like bribe company A to like end up higher in the ranking, like you can already see that that negotiation process like may not be in my favor. So I think we need to think hard about like also the economic security of these systems we're building. Yeah, that's why I'm excited about this talk.
Makes a lot of sense. So I assume you guys are all contributing to PyTorch then? No one? No. So in the interest of time, I'll have one more question. Let's try to make it not too long, and then we'll open it up and see if anyone in the audience wants to ask anything. Give me, in one sentence, your most controversial opinion on agents.
Most controversial take?
You know? Yeah.
Do you wanna? Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I don't have a controversial thought, but the thought of how agents can game the system is where my worry would be. The example that he gave, company A trying to bribe the same system so that it gives you output that is biased towards company A. I think that is where I don't have a controversial view, but I think that is a very challenging space moving forward in the agent world. You thought about it?
No.
No.
So as I mentioned, so when I started teaching the agentic AI MOOC, actually not many people were actually, agent wasn't quite a thing. Like not many people were paying attention to agents. And now, right, like there's this explosive growth in agents. But I think one question is, with Brad also earlier we were discussing this as well. I mean, today we are building agents based on what the models are capable of doing today. And also, last year people were not talking about agents because the model was not strong enough. So I think it'll be very interesting to think about, like, as the model capabilities continue to grow. Today we have a lot of different, frameworks, different ways to build agents. But as the model capabilities continue to grow, then that's going to actually completely change how we build agents today, and how agents behave and so on. So I think, it's not a controversial thing, but I think it's something actually not many people are thinking about. But I think it could be very interesting.
To summarize, none of the frameworks right now give a very good way to build agents.
Could be.
Except for Goose.
Yeah, of course. So I think my take will be that it's a much better experience and outcome for the human if they have one agent that can do everything for them than if they need to work through like a large corporation of a multi-agent system.
But I think that actually poses a really important question. Who can choose that agent?
Oh, well, there's the Ethereum guy over there. He's got a Web3 take.
And so I completely agree, and that's why I think it's so critical that we have open source agents.
Yes, yeah, that I completely agree. Yes, actually, even in the previous wave of deep learning, yes, I actually talked about this as well. Like, ideally, we don't want today's, platform-centric approach. It's really important to have. I'm still looking for a better term. You can either call it a fiduciary, or we also call it like flourishing agent, like actually essentially has users' best interests and try to maximize user value instead of maximizing platform value for big platforms and so on. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think you guys have covered David's take on this. All right. Well, I think we have time for like maybe one or two audience questions. Does anyone have any questions for the panelists? All right. I think you'll just have to shout.
So one question I do have is, like, I understand like you're working on the security side of things and stuff like that. So if I really look at the way the frontier models are working today is they milk off based on the number of tokens that we are basically sending. So now what I want to understand is, like, from an agent perspective, is there any effort that's basically happening to optimize the number of tokens that we actually send for completion? Because end of the day, like, if I really look at it as an end user, I don't want to be paying a lot of money to to the commercial providers, right? So because I want to be optimizing it, I want to get the best answer possible as much as possible in quickest time, or like the number of requests that I send as far as the completion is concerned. But today what happens is, like, because of the number of prompting that basically happens, we end up sending more number of tokens and the context just increases. And that basically provides an opportunity for people to go, I mean, like sort of unmonitored. It's like the tokens just keep going, just blowing up.
So for those of you in the back, the question is, how do you cost optimize and speed optimize agents?
I do think that as an individual, you should shop around a little bit and like look for an agent that gives you visibility onto the way it's using tokens. You should literally get a price estimate. And so you can pick, like, just see which one's working best. But I will say that as a person building agents, this is hugely top of mind because it's a cost concern. It's also a latency concern because tokens take a long time to load onto the GPU. And there's a bunch of tricks that we do to make this happen. So one is definitely token caching, which just like keeps the tokenization process warm. That's a huge deal. So you really want to go out of your way to not break the token cache in a multi-turn conversation. Another one is like trimming the context window when it has grown long, because a conversation is quadratic in token spend. So like every time you trim it, you kind of reset that quadratic curve. And then the last one is like a lot of really hard work around designing good tools that get the same thing done in as few tokens as possible. So I think there's a lot of work that we're going to do there on the agent side to make that better and better over time.
And can I get a cost estimate of my agents on Block?
Yeah.
On Goose, yeah.
So yeah, go to Goose. If you check out Goose, it has a little bar in the chat window that's showing you like how many tokens it's using at every turn, and then how much it's costing you.
Yeah, that's very nice. And again, as I mentioned, I think we are still at the beginning. So there's actually, as Brad mentioned, so there's a lot of different optimizations that you can do. And in the future, I think there's more. Right now, it's still monolithic. You have the big models, but in the future, there will be many models, and the agents will at runtime decide like what model may be best suited. And not just a big model, maybe a small model is sufficient to do certain tasks. Then it can decompose the task into different components, and then try to optimize costs. Then certain components it can send to the smaller models, cheaper ones, open ones that you can even host yourself, and so on. So there are many of these optimizations in the future that people will be doing, and also the system will dynamically learn from the past experience and adjust this continuous optimization loop.
I'll just add one more component to it, what Don mentioned about model routing. So depending upon what your prompt is looking like, you can have a selection of models, and your prompt can be forwarded to that model based on, the prompt can forward to that model based on how complex the question is. If it's a simple question, might as well use a model that is much smaller in size, and it can address that answer very easily. The other thing that is happening in the reasoning space is now you can limit the reasoning tokens. So that also optimizes your cost a lot. So these are all small and big tricks. I'm just adding to what they said, which you can use or tweak around while you are designing your agent.
Yeah, maybe I'll just mention that there is a few projects that are building in this space. For example, one is Open Router, or like similar ones, where essentially like they make your life easier as a developer to route to like different type of models. Yeah, they handle the keys, things like that. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah. So when I'm coming here to those kind of conferences and I'm hearing you talking, it's amazing. It's like, oh my God, it's like how the future will look is amazing. And then I'm talking to my customers, and oh my God, the gap, it's like unbelievable of where actually people are using and what we're talking about. And I wonder in our community, we can help those guys come with us instead of going and showing a future that honestly, it's not even close to what people are using in the real world. So, and again, I'm a scientist, like I'm a computer science, right? That's what I like, that's what I do. So I'm excited about where we're going to. But honestly, just when then I'm going and talking about it with the real enterprise, they are like, it's like not even, you know, it's like, yeah. So I mean, I'm wondering if there is any idea for you guys how we can bring those people with us to actually consume the amazing stuff we're working on together.
That's actually what I'm working on, so we can talk after. But I do think the panelists have to go, so we got to cut this a little bit short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.